Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Dateable AF podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about jealous, me, never. Okay, maybe a little the messy truth about jealousy, even in the most secure relationships.
Oh, and I know those listeners out there right now going, "Oh, I'm not the jealous type. Oh no,
Nope,
I'm not
nobody likes to
jealous.
admit it.
No,
Nobody
when it
likes
comes
to admit
flying
it.
out of your mouth, we know you are."
Yes, but jealousy, it can be spicy. It's sometimes shamey. We often carry a lot of shame about it, but we are going to talk today about what it looks like and why it shows up, and then what to do about it besides pretending it's not happening.
Yeah. Also, think that it's going to be fun to talk a little bit about envy as well, because those two things are interesting when you think about them together. And anyway, it's going to be a good
Yeah.
conversation.
So I think a lot of people assume that jealousy and envy are the same. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how those two things are different?
Yeah, definitely. Jealousy is really about the fear of something being taken away from you, something that you love, something that means something to you, and that it's going to be taken away from you. Envy is when you want something that somebody else has, and that you're envious. You are coveting whether they have money or material possessions or a hot girlfriend, whatever that is, that you wish you had. You're envious of them in that way. And uh, oftentimes, I saw this when I was doing a little research for today's pod, is that love is typically something between two people. I'm sorry, jealousy is typically a thing between two people. And envy is typically has can have multiple people involved in it. Like you can be envious of a lot of people. It's typically involves more than just you with another person. You're jealous of them, and they're giving their energy to another person.
That makes sense. I sometimes think of envy as not necessarily that you want to take something away from someone else. Like you got a new car. Oh, I want a new car too. Not, I
Hmm.
wish I had that new car instead of you having it.
Yeah.
So, jealousy, yeah, I think when I think of jealousy, I do think about it more about something being taken away from you. Like maybe you got the last new car and I wanted that one, which is kind of silly. But yes.
Yeah, it is silly.
But jealousy in relationships, I do think it's about you're afraid someone else is going to take what you have, whether that's your partner's time or love or attention or something like that.
Or like the last older cute girl out there. That could happen.
Oh, yeah, because there's only one left.
Yes, at my age, there really is sometimes.
Well, you better go on out and get her because there's a
Oh,
line of people waiting.
hell no. I need to let that go. All right. So I did see something about three different, I don't know if this is something you already know in your therapeutic practice, but that there are three types of envy.
Okay.
There's what you call benign envy, which is um, sort of like what you talked about, where you're wanting some maybe material possession that you're wishing you had it. The emulative envy is around somebody appearing a certain way, maybe an example of them looking a certain way, and you're wishing that you were that cool, that hip, that style, that thing. And then there's the malicious envy, which is the worst envy of all. And
What
that
is
one,
that one?
the malicious envy is the one that is most destructive. And that is where you actually are looking at somebody else and having a negative reaction to them personally because of what they have that you don't have.
It's so interesting how often I see that one in my therapy practice. that
Mm-hmm.
people will come in and be mad at their friends because they got an inheritance, or be mad at their friend because they got pregnant, or mad at their friend because they got a partner. And I just think that that is putting a lot of negativity out into the world, that you should be happy for those people. And it's okay for you to want that for yourself too.
Yeah, it is. The other thing that I looked at when I was looking at the research and thinking about the definition of jealousy was this very interesting look at. I didn't realize this, that many people automatically assign love and jealousy in the same box,
Say more
and
about that.
that that they do actually have some overlayers with one another. But so love is what you are doing with someone in order to build a life, a connection, a future. But your love is the protection of that, the investment you make in that. And jealousy is actually you having a reaction to trying to keep that from being taken away from you, from pulling that apart.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
and so they run really, that I think people think they run really close, and they do. And I think oftentimes, based on this study I was looking at through the National Institute of Health, I was reading their abstract, and it was really interesting about the look at people needed. Basically, the outcome they had from the study was people needing a deeper understanding of the difference between those two things. And the one thing that really caught my attention was that they said that there needs to be more discussion and expanding a discussion about love and jealousy as complementary emotions of our human affective endowment. So basically, that they can complement one another, but they are not the same thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that love and romantic jealousy are emotions aimed at staying cooperative, so for a period of time. So and this is really tricky with jealousy, because you may think that you're trying to keep something working, but I think that emotion makes something stop working, whereas love is the thing that keeps it working.
Yes. It makes me think of the, age old expression, if you love something, set it free.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's meant to be yours, it'll come back to you. But when you're in that insecure situation, it's so hard to do that.
Yeah. And that also, I mean, we're going to talk about this, but the jealousy is not always a red flag. It's not just a bad thing. It's the degree of the role it plays in your situation. And then oftentimes that we have very good reason to be jealous.
Yes. I think there's a common myth that jealousy means you're insecure, or jealousy means that you're in a toxic relationship. And I don't think those things are necessarily true. I think they can be, but I don't think that jealousy is inherently a sign that you're an insecure person or that your relationship is toxic.
No. And I can reflect back on a personal situation of mine.
Do tell.
I'm just going to, it'll be a bunch of Moniques and Veronicas.
Okay.
But this situation was with someone who I still know, who is not an innately jealous person, and not as I know them today.
Mm-hmm.
But being with me, they were jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And when I reflect back on that, I think I had a whole hell of a lot to do.
And what do you think your part of that was, Missy?
Well, first off, going into a relationship, often an affair, that makes you suspect right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And then I think just the fact that I was trying so desperately to hang on to an ex that I should have been letting go of sooner, and it just created a lot of it's created a lot of problems, I think, for that other person. And I think they were someone that I don't think they actually innately are. So I'm just
Yeah,
going to
I
say
think that
that.
makes sense because I think that this is actually a good thing to talk about because if you're someone, we may have talked about this on the pod before, but I talk to people about looking for anomalies or looking for exceptions. So let's say there are 10 situations and in 9 of those situations, you're not jealous, but in the 10th situation, you are jealous. That situation's the anomaly. So what's going on here that's bringing up those feelings? There's something about that situation that's not sitting well with you. If there are 10 situations and you're jealous in 9 of those, that's about you. Like you are a jealous person. so,
Bingo.
so thinking about how you react, and sometimes too, it could just be the dynamic between those two people. Maybe there's just an inherent insecurity between those two people, and that may be an oil and water thing that's just not gonna float because, gosh, you don't want to go through a whole relationship feeling jealous and insecure.
No, and yeah, absolutely not. I mean, that's not going to feel good, and it causes all those that little bickering stuff we were talking about in the last pod of all those stupid little fights,
Dumb arguments with the dishwasher when it's really about you being jealous.
right? Exactly. But I do think, at least for me, learning what was valuable to me was learning how when you enter something, you need to enter. You have to know when you're entering, bringing sort of some toxicity in, that you're bringing in stuff right from the get-go that's going to make it hard for people to settle into.
Yes.
And so that, I think, is taking personal ownership of what you're doing. And I just want to say for the listeners out there, and if I have any potential dates, which I probably never will again, but I'm going to say this again, is that I went to a lot of therapy and I worked on my stuff. And so I am no longer, I'm safe now. I
She's
can say
a
that.
commodity, y'all. She's a hot commodity.
Thank you. Will you endorse me?
I will. I will
Thank you.
wholeheartedly endorse Rachel as a date for anybody that wants to go out with her. Yes. So I think that there are a few different kinds of jealousy that we get into. One is this thing we were talking about, like romantic or sexual jealousy. And that could happen if you feel like the person you're seeing is showing romantic interest in someone else. And that's a hard one to get past because, it's hard to watch your person flirting with someone else or behaving in a sexualized way with someone else. I think there are a couple of other ones too. One is emotional jealousy. You may not feel like your date is going to go have sex with someone else, but maybe they're confiding in someone else. Maybe they are giving their emotional energy to someone else and you wish they were giving it to you. So it's easy to get jealous about that. And then the third one is situational jealousy. That I can think of a personal example that I have been in a dating situation where the person I was dating, Monique, I don't know if you've met her before. She would prioritize what her friends wanted to do. So if I said, for example, hey, let's go listen to some music, and her friends said, let's go to happy hour, she would always prioritize the thing that her friends wanted to do. And so it wasn't like I thought she was interested in them romantically, but it was more of a, oh, I'm checking out where I fall in your priority list kind of thing.
Yeah. I think the romantic sexual jealousy is more obvious.
Yes.
I think emotional jealousy is something that people have a harder time owning, understanding, and not just being mad about it. And like you'll make up all sorts of things, like if your partner makes more money than you do, and you struggle with that, and then you start saying that their job is ruining your life.
Yes.
It's like, no, actually, you just have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So I think that one is more difficult to causes more arguments that are not recognized for what they are. And situational is definitely the podcast we did about the exes and besties and kind of the pacing of that is that that one comes into play big time when you're trying to force that situation together before you've had time to really establish the relationship that you're in, and that just puts your new partner in a position to be jealous of that person.
Yeah. Yep, for sure, because you can't compete with someone's history. You're never going to have as long a history with that person as their ex because their ex is already years ahead of you. And so, sort of figuring out how to balance all that and figuring out if you can get secure about it, or if you're on the other side of it, like, are there things you could do to help your partner feel more secure?
Do you have any other examples of emotional jealousy? The reason I'm asking is just because I think that's a big one, and I think people don't necessarily recognize it.
Yes, I do have quite a few examples of this. This comes up a lot in therapy. One of them, I'll give you an example that's clearly not romantic, but I have a client who talks to her mom on the phone every day. And they talk about everything. They talk about emotions. They talk about shopping. They talk about sex. They talk about everything. And sometimes the partner gets jealous and the partner's like, I want her to talk to me about those things. I don't, but by the time I get home, she's already talked about it. She's already processed it with her mom. So it's not an issue of thinking there's something weird going on with the mom. Obviously, that'd be real creepy.
That's a completely different episode right there.
Yeah, we're not going to cover that one.
Whoa.
But the partner is like emotionally jealous because they feel like their significant other is giving something away that should be kept within the relationship. And that is that emotional closeness and intimacy and sharing personal things.
Do you think it would feel as bad if they were willing to also, they could share with their mother? I mean, I think it's kind of creepy that you talk to your mother every day, and especially about sex. So I'm just going to put that out there, but it's just my opinion. But that if they also were still excited to share those things with their partner, is there capacity for that, do you think?
It's interesting. I think that's a possibility with the particular couple I'm thinking about. That ship's already sailed. And so I think if they've already shared with the mom and then the partner comes home and they want to share with the partner's already too frustrated about it. But maybe there is something that could be undone about that, or something that could be reconfigured with them. But in general, sure, I think the idea is, are you getting your needs met? Are you feeling connected enough with your partner rather than focusing so much on who else they're sharing with?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So I'm really curious about last time we talked about all the attachment theories, and that plays a role in this. And some of the research that I did, for sure, the anxious attachment individuals tend to really struggle more with jealousy. That showed up in the research.
Yes, for sure.
And then there's also some issues around why women dating women maybe face this sort of thing more than the average bear, that I found interesting. And that's a couple of reasons why. One is you merge your life with exes. Mm-hmm. And so more so than heterosexual people do. So these are all things that we need to be aware of, ladies, women out there dating women. We have a smaller community, so there's just more crossover in our community. Mm-hmm. So more chance that you maybe are going to be in a social circle with an ex of yours or theirs or whatever. And then friend time, your friend time is mostly you desire it with other females. And so, so I think that's interesting because in heterosexual couples, they often, the girls do the girls' outings. Men don't have much stake in that. I mean, if they're watching the TV show, that new show about
The Hunting Wives?
Hunting wives,
Ooh,
and
girl.
they might need to worry a little more than they think they should when they go out on the girls' outings. I'm just gonna say that fogged up my glasses, and but
Yeah, we might need to have a whole episode about that. I'm going to just go down a little rabbit trail here. If you have not watched The Hunting Wives and you are a woman who dates women, I would highly recommend it because it is very entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yes, it is. I'd like to hunt me one of those wives.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
But those husbands, they weren't worried at all. Well, their wives were out with each other and they did not have a care in the world about it. But
yeah, that's not reality. Little did they know. And then the other one that came up was this idea of high alert for emotional infidelity. And so we were talking a little bit about that a minute ago. And the emotional piece of it is just women are on higher alert and they are oftentimes respond more severely to emotional infidelity than men do. Like, so men don't really care as much. I'm not, again, generalizing that. Their wives are making a deep emotional connection with their best friend. And they're talking about all this soulful stuff. And I don't give a crap about that most of the time. But women find out, oh my gosh, you just kind of like the mother. You shared all that stuff. That's mine.
Yeah. Yep. I think that makes a lot of sense. Going back to the thing that you said about attachment styles, I do think that they're very closely connected to this jealousy issue because when someone is insecurely attached or anxiously attached, they are constantly looking, they're on this high alert that you were describing about losing their partner, about their partner being distant from them. And so anything that might look like they're sharing themselves with someone else, whether that's emotionally or time-wise or romantically, it's going to trigger that insecure attachment. And so I think that if you have that attachment style, you got to be really careful to not put your stuff on someone else, that you got to work on your own insecurities so that you don't sabotage your relationship because of that.
Right. Because those of us that are a little avoidant attachment, it doesn't work good for us.
Yes.
Doesn't work out well.
That is true. And if you're someone who maybe doesn't deal with anxious attachment, but you've been betrayed in the past, if someone has cheated on you in the past, or someone has made you feel foolish in the past, or tricked you in the past, then you probably have some sensitivities around that. And you may compare your current situation to your past situation and overlay the past betrayal on your current partner. And that's also not fair. So something to be worked on in therapy for sure.
Yeah. One of the things that came up in this area was a little bit about how even secure people feel jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a story about that, another personal story about, well, it's closely related to this. I was in a relationship for years where we had prided ourselves in the level of independence that we gave one another. And that we gave one another so much line that there was hardly an end to where you could go with that. And what I learned in that process was there was a point where I actually needed my person to feel a little bit of jealousy in order to make me feel like they cared enough that they had some boundary or there was something that they wanted or expected from me that was specific to our relationship, because I felt like pretty much anything I could go anywhere, do anything. And yeah, and that didn't feel good. And so I was needing, I don't know if you would call it jealousy, but I needed an end to where the line could go.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because you don't want to feel like, well, this person doesn't care that I'm going away for the weekend with someone, or, those kinds of things. You need to know that they're invested.
Yeah, I think, and I do think you can express that caring in ways that don't have to come across as some sort of big negative jealousy. For me, I mean, all I was looking for was, hey, I'm glad you're going, but I'm going to be really glad when you get back. And
Mhm.
I'm going to look forward to spending that time with you. And I hope we get enough time so, like, because I could run out the door and come back and run right out the door again.
Yeah.
you
You
know?
need to know somebody cares if that's happening.
Right.
Yeah. One of the questions that I encourage people to ask is this someone I need to be worried about?
Mm,
That's a way of expressing that you might have a concern, but you're not trying to control the person's behavior.
mm.
But, like, hey, this person's on my radar. Is this something I should worry about? So yeah, that if you're starting to feel jealous about somebody, it's good to check in with your partner about it. And again, not trying to manage your own emotions by controlling their behavior, because that'll get you into trouble every time. But letting them know that it's on your radar, I think, is an okay thing to do.
Yeah. I I think people really struggle with the right language at the right time when this is going on because you're feeling stuff and you really want to not own where you are in it. You want to naturally go at them and ask them to stop doing something that's making you feel uncomfortable.
Yes. Instead of looking at what's triggering that for you and how you can shore up the connection with this person so that it is okay for them to go do their thing. Because jealousy is often a sign that you're having some deeper need, whether that's connection or reassurance, or you need some different boundaries in the relationship. So exploring that, I think, can be super helpful.
Yeah. What do you think about people? I don't know if you see much of this in your practice, but couples where they can't kind of flirt together, uh, where they can identify like, oh, she's hot. And, and sometimes the other one's like, oh, hell no. Mm-mm. Don't talk to me
Yeah.
about that.
Yep. I see the gamut of this in my therapy practice and with my friends. It's so funny to me how, and this is speaking to my own age here because I am not in that social media generation. You have no idea how often people will come in and say, "Oh, she liked this hot person on Facebook," or for heterosexual couples, will say, "Oh, all he has are hot girls in his Instagram feed." It's like, what are you doing looking at your person's Instagram feed? That is wacko. Come on, y'all. And so, someone followed her on Instagram. You're like, what? How do you know how many followers she has and if she got a new one? I don't even know how many followers I have and if I got a new one, let alone can I keep up with anybody else?
Yeah. And if you're creeping around doing that, then something else is really wrong. If you're you're constantly, you're monitoring what they're doing, monitoring their phone calls or monitoring their net. I know that generation of folks, they don't call anybody for anything. They
No,
just text or whatever.
ain't
But
no phone records, no phone records to be had because nobody's calling each other.
but they get into the phone and look at all the
They
text
do.
history.
All the DMs. Yes. And the other thing, I don't know if you know about this, but do you know about the burner account?
No. I mean, is that, I'm assuming, like a burner phone, it's a private account?
It is what, so I have my real Instagram, and then I got this burner account that I can creep on people and they don't know it's me. Y'all, no, don't get a burner account. This is not good. And then you're like, well, I'm afraid they're not being honest with me. Well, guess what?
What?
You're not being honest with them because you got a burner account. Oh my God, it kills me.
Did
Kills
they really?
me.
Oh my God.
Yes. They
Mm-mm.
stalk their person that they're dating by using a burner Instagram that has a fake name and a fake picture. It's crazy.
That's so that's cheating.
Say more about that.
I mean, it's an emotional obsession that can quickly seems to me, if you're really stalking somebody like that, that could turn into some other stuff you might be doing on the side that is.
Maybe, yeah, I think we've talked about this so many times, and with our beta test groups that we ran last summer, If you want an honest partner, then you need to bring honesty to the table. And if you have a burner account that you're using to stalk someone, that is not honest. If you're wondering about this person, then ask them directly. Like, hey, I noticed this was going on. Or, hey, I noticed that you have a lot of women on your Instagram. Tell me more about that. Like, ask them the question directly and open up a conversation about it. And then if they're weird about it, well, that's a whole different thing. But it, you know, don't make an assumption based on someone's social media.
It's also, when you think about back when we were mostly dealing with some of this stuff in our younger lives, it really was based around you were making phone calls that you shouldn't be making, or other things like that. Now I feel like all of this stuff is happening online, and it's so easy for people to hide behind all of these screens and opportunities, and that it just seems to elicit bad behavior or secretive behavior.
Yes.
And you're not even talking to anybody in real life.
Right. And there's also this illusion, and it's back in the day, people used to hire private investigators. I don't know if that even still happens anymore, but they used to hire private investigators to see if their partner was cheating. And I would say if you're at the point where you're hiring a private investigator, it's already done. Because if you get proof that the person's cheating, then the relationship's over. And if you don't get proof that they're cheating, all you're going to tell yourself is, well, I just haven't found it yet. Well, the same is true in modern day issues with looking at someone's online presence or looking at their phone or reading their text messages. I could read your texts and they all seem legit, but you might be messaging someone on WhatsApp, or you might be messaging someone through some other platform that I don't even know about. And so it doesn't soothe me. It just makes me think, well, I just have to look harder.
Yeah. And do you really, I'm a shout out there to all people who've done this. So you hire a private investigator, or you get into your person's phone and start digging around and you're finding these things. Are you really thinking that, oh, I got you now? Oh, now I got you. Here's the proof. So, and then what? What?
And
okay.
what?
Right. So you're going to say, and they go, and then they say, oh, I'll never do it again. And then you go, oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. Because what you tell yourself is, if I caught my person cheating, I would leave right away. It's mostly not true. There are a few people that will, but mostly it's like, we're going to have a big fight. We're going to break up. Then you're going to apologize. And then we're going to get back together. Like, you're going to be with this person anyway, even if you caught them cheating. So we've gone down a whole rabbit trail here, but
don't you want to it's better to not know.
Yeah. Just bury your head in the sand.
Just wait until you get that venereal disease, and then you'll have to start figuring it out.
we call that an STI now.
I call it VD.
Oh my goodness. So back to our original topic of jealousy.
Oh Lord.
So those real life scenarios that we were talking about, people getting jealous because their person likes their ex's photo online, or because they liked the photo of someone hot online, or even I've seen it where the person they're dating might make a comment about an actress, like, oh, look at her, she's hot, and the person gets jealous, and it's like, no, honey, no.
There you go. Or learn to flirt with your person. That can be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Cruise people together. I mean, if you're with somebody who continually crosses over the line, then no, that's not fun. But have some fun with it. And I think this idea of a throuple topic is interesting. Because can you imagine they were fine with threesome until they weren't? I love.
Yes, this happens too. Oh, Lordy B, child. This topic, people bring this to therapy.
We should have brought in, we could have had a guest appearance on this one.
Throuple. Yep.
Yeah,
We know someone who's been in a throuple
that's
before.
right. And we're just going to say that it's me, Sarah, and Joe are not
We
the
are not a
people we're
throuple,
talking about here.
despite the fact that some people have accused us of such things. But
Yeah.
no, this is Veronica,
Yes.
and she has been in a throuple, but I feel that she would not be willing to come on and talk about it. But what I think is that people sometimes get bored or restless with their relationship, and they think that they want to open it up. And I would say that is a very bad idea. It's kind of like thinking that your things aren't going so well, so you want to have a baby. It is not the thing to do when things aren't going so well. But it seems like a great idea until someone gets emotionally attached to the third person. And then it doesn't go so well in my experience as a therapist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've not done my own research on that, so I don't know what the numbers are, but based on the experience you've had in your practice, the odds have not been in their favor, correct?
No. And I will say that I come at this from the idea that adults can, consenting adults can make their own decisions about how they want to handle their lives and their relationships. So this is not a moral judgment. I will just say in 25 years of clinical practice, that normally does not work out so well. And if you are someone who is in a long-term throuple and you want to counter my opinion, I would love to hear from you.
Yes, we would.
Yeah. So that just historically, I haven't seen great luck with that. So anyway, so yes, I do think bringing in another person into the relationship can bring up feelings of jealousy, and often things go pretty south about that.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling jealous, what are some things that you can do with that?
Well, I absolutely think you can self-check. And I think that's probably the first thing you should do is just look at yourself and see if there's what's going on for you around that before you open your mouth.
Yes. Like, am I having trust issues, or is my partner behaving in an untrustworthy way? And sometimes it's both. But
Right.
Yeah, it's good to just check yourself. Again, if you're jealous in 9 out of 10 situations, it's probably you. If you're jealous in 1 out of 10 situations, there might be something shady going on. So good to check in about it.
Yeah.
So I think you can also practice emotional regulation skills that help you in general. So that would be, if you don't have a meditation practice, start a meditation practice. If you aren't someone who journals and writes down how you're feeling, that's a good thing. Practicing just taking some deep breaths and regulating yourself before you dive into, making up a whole story about the thing you're jealous about.
Yeah. And people out there, don't read anybody's journal. It's not yours.
No.
Don't do it.
Bad
Because
idea.
if you do, then you get what you deserve, what you get by doing that. So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
If you're going to talk to your partner, which I encourage you to do, if you're feeling jealous, to talk to them from a place of personal responsibility without sounding accusatory. So say, I'm feeling scared about this. Is this someone I should be concerned about? I've been hurt before, and I just want to check in and ask for some reassurance. But you always want to use those I statements and not blame the other person.
Yeah. The boundaries versus control is a big one, I think, because it's really difficult to know how to. So much about it can be trying to control the other person so that you feel okay, and instead of sort of coming up with what are acceptable boundaries that you can both live up to. And this one, it goes back strongly to you trying to get in a position with your ex too quickly. I think that's where this plays out big time, is just you being ready and wanting something from your ex that the other person's not ready for you to go back in and have.
Mm-hmm.
And that they are needing some boundaries around that, but it can come across as control. Like, I just need to control. Like, I don't want you to see them ever. I don't want you to do this thing.
Yep, absolutely. And remember that setting a boundary is never, ever about changing someone else's behavior. Setting a boundary is about letting them know what you will do in response to a behavior. But again, so often we try to manage our feelings by controlling someone else's behavior, and it just doesn't work. So remember that you can decide if something is sustainable for you or not. Like, maybe I don't want to date someone that's best friends with their ex. That's different than trying to prevent someone from being best friends with their ex.
Yeah. And for all of our young listeners out there, I mean, we're not talking about this stuff. We're not just pulling this out of our asses. This is
this is lived experience.
Lived experience is a crow's feet right there. We're telling you, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, kids. Listen to your mentors here.
That's right.
Yep. So, what are the takeaways that we want folks to leave with after listening to this episode?
I love the fact that just making sure people know that jealousy isn't necessarily a red flag. It's a check. I like this check engine light, but it is. Just check in with yourself and then with your person.
Yes, for sure. And remembering to use I statements. You're talking about yourself and your feelings and how things are impacting you. You're not being critical of someone else's behavior.
Yeah, just making sure you're not turning, you're having trust issues, or as you're check in with yourself to be sure if it's you or if it's really them.
Yes, absolutely. The other thing I would say is identify what you need and ask for it from your partner. Do you need reassurance? Do you need some kind of check-in with them? Do you need more demonstration of love or affection from them? But identifying what you need from them and asking for that, and just being really direct.
Yeah. Well, I'm exhausted from thinking about all this now.
Yes, it's a lot. And I would say the last thing, got to put a plug in for my profession here, that if you can't get a handle on your jealousy, go talk to your therapist about it. If you don't have a therapist, you should get one. But that is like an objective person that you can talk to that will help you navigate this and hopefully salvage your relationship, and without too much distress.
Yeah. Yes. Sooner rather than later, because guarantee it'll go bad if you don't.
Yes, for sure. We really love hearing from you. So please DM us on Instagram. We are at Dateable AF. You can also email us info@getdateable.com. I'm sorry, info@dateableaf.com. And please just send us your experiences about jealousy. Let us know something that jealousy has taught you about yourself or your relationship, or just reach out to say hello. We always like hearing from you.
Or if you've had a successful throuple.
Please, we want to hear if you've had a successful long-term throuple. I mean, longer than, let's say, 5 years.
Okay.
And as always, please like us. And if you see our posts on social media, can you do us a favor and just give a little heart to that, and maybe a comment if you feel up to it? Liking us and following us and sharing us is helping us get the word out. And we are really trying to reach as many folks as we possibly can. And then next week, our topic is going to be, am I losing myself or just growing up? Looking at identity shifts in long-term relationships and finding your way back to you.
So let's do a shout out to our upcoming event on August 24th at the 1972 bar here in Austin, Texas. We are having an after party that'll air this week, I think, probably come out. That'll give a little bit more, we'll have a little bit more conversation about that specific event and the concept of that event. And hopefully we'll be able to do more of those outside the Austin area.
Yes, bringing folks together in real life at a fabulous new place, 1972, that's opened up in Austin. As always, we really want to thank you for listening to the Dateable AF podcast, where we help you find your happy ending.
And remember, be bold, be kind, and for the love of queer dating, don't text your ex. Stay dateable.
AF.